Hi everybody, Sean Grisp here with Mid Ski Patrol Tips of the Day. I have Jess here. She is going to be a patient with a left knee injury for this scenario, and Sketch is here helping me out as a patroller. In this scenario, we're not going through the complete patient assessment. We already know that Jess has a left knee injury, and we're going to be showing you how to intervene with a quick splint as we would up on the hill, and then swap over to a cardboard splint as we would to send the patient away once we got down in the patrol hut. As always, we have our universal precautions on this entire time. We've gone through scene safety and all that. We're not covering any of that. We're also not covering any other assessment on her leg. This is strictly a video to show you how to put these splints on. Great. So when I get to the scene, and we've found out that Jess has an injured left knee here. I'm going to get out my splint. I'm going to give this a little flex because sometimes these splints can get a little stiff if they're cold. So I'm going to give it a little flex here, and I'm going to open up my straps so everything will go smooth. Okay, so I've held manual stabilization, and Jess is holding manual stabilization on her knee right now. So I'm going to ask Sketch, the other patroller, to Sketch, can you please resume manual?
Yep.
Assume manual stabilization of her knee. Okay, great. We're going to try to straighten out her knee a little bit. Okay, can you do that? Is that all right? Okay, great. Hold her knee. Sometimes they'll need it a little bit bent. Okay, so Sketch, what we're going to do is on 3, and actually, Jess, if you can help out a little bit, we're going to lift your leg. Sam's going to be holding your knee, and I'm going to slide this quick splint underneath your leg, okay? Awesome. So is everybody ready? Okay, on 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, great. You can put your knee down, Jess. Okay, Jess? Can you squeeze that? All right. Sam, you can let go and hold this splint closed. Okay. So right now this splint is holding manual stabilization. Okay? So now I'm going to go through and I'm going to check CSMs. Okay, she has a nice warm pulse down here. Jess, can you wiggle your foot for me, your left foot? Okay, great. Do you feel any tingling sensation anywhere down there?
Nope.
Nope? Okay. So if you can just hold this nice and tight. Yep. We're making sure that we can see the injured part of Jess's leg the entire time. It's right here. Yep. And notice that I'm not strapping directly over the injured part of her. When we're putting this splint on the hill, we would usually be doing this and keeping their boot, whatever footwear they're wearing, on. And we'd be removing that once we got down to the hut. Okay, so now we've intervened by putting on this quick splint, and we transported the patient Jess down to the patrol hut, and we're moving into our secondary assessment, and we've determined that she does in fact have a knee injury that needs to be possibly assessed down at the hospital, or at least splinted up for the time being. So we're going to send her away in a cardboard splint, which I'll introduce. Sam will hold that up right now. Go ahead and hold that up, Sam. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. Okay, so Sam, what we're going to do right now is if you just hold this splint right here, I'm going to start to assemble this cardboard splint. So here's a cardboard splint. I'm going to size it up over here. I'm going to reach right across you, Jess. It looks like the size is more or less going to work for Jess. Keep in mind with these splints, if you do need to shorten them for a child or anybody else, you can always just cut these to the appropriate length. And if you need to make them any longer, you can cut off an additional section from another splint and add it in up here and tape them together to make a longer splint. This looks like it's going to work out just fine for Jess because it goes at least halfway up her femur and down to the bottom of her foot, so we're effectively splinting the bones above and below her injured knee. Okay, so this is how you put these particular cardboard splints together. The bend right here, slide these notches together, then this bottom part goes in like so. Okay, we're going to have plenty of padding to work with here, probably more than we need. Thank you. Yep. Okay. This stuff tears pretty easily. What this is doing is just adding padding, a little bit of airspace to the splint. So all that extra volume. Obviously, Jess's leg isn't square and the splint is square, so we're trying to take up that extra airspace in there. And right now, I'm just gonna kind of locate her knee right here and add a little bit of padding for this transfer in the knee area right now, because once we get her leg in there behind her knee, there may be a little bend in there. You want to take up that extra volume there. Okay. So, Sam, if you can just hold that splint close, yep. I'm going to start unvelcroing it, okay? Okay, so Jess, right now, we're going to take this splint off of you and slide your leg into this other splint. Okay. Sound good? You're going to be careful doing this because if you don't have somebody like Scatch right now is holding the splint closed, if I were to just start unvelcroing this, it's going to pop open and her injured knee will not be stabilized, and it could be pretty painful. Okay. So Sam, I'm going to open up this splint. Can you assume manual stabilization of the knee? Okay, great. So he's stabilizing. Okay. So now we're going to do the reverse of what we did on the hill, Jess. We're going to lift your leg again. I'm going to slide this quick splint out, and then I'm going to slide the cardboard splint back in. Okay. For the sake of this video, we're going to leave your shoe on and just forego any further assessment there. But typically, we would be taking the ski boot or snowboard boot or whatever boot they're wearing off before putting the splint on. These are pretty slim shoes. They're not taking up much volume. And just for the skill of putting on this splint, we're going to leave her shoe on. Okay? Okay, so on 3, we're going to lift your leg, and Jess, if you can help as needed, we'll do it. Anybody not ready? Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, lift that right up. Okay, and we can get the splint right down in here. Okay, we'll slide right in here. Okay, continue to hold manual stabilization with Scatch. Okay, great. And you stay right there. Okay, so now we've got Jess in the cardboard splint. We're going to add a little padding down here. We're going to leave her injury site, which is her knee, exposed. And we're going to add a little padding up here. I'm going to take this hand right here. Tuck this in. Like so. Actually, can you take your hand right there? Maintain. Yeah. Okay. I have a little bit too much padding there. That's going to work a little better. You'll see why I'm putting this bubble wrap here in just a minute. Okay, so now what we're going to do is tape up this splint. Okay, so for the sake of this video, Jess, I'm going to have you actually maintain stabilization on your knee, and Sam is going to squeeze and lift the splint, okay? Okay, so on 3, Sam, I'm going to have you lift Jess's leg up. Yep. Keeping this all intact here, okay? I'm going to start like this, get a wrap here. Okay. Okay, so on 3, lift, 1, 2, 3. Okay, get another wrap right up here. You'll notice that I'm taping directly to tape, so I start out on the cardboard. I'm going to go right underneath this hand if you need to readjust. Because if I were to just tape right to the cardboard, it tends to pop off. So I start on one side of the cardboard, and then I come all the way around. You'll also notice that I'm trying not to jostle Jess's leg around too much, because that can be pretty uncomfortable. So I have a 2 straps below her injury. I'm going to do one more for good old time's sake right up here. And of course, in an actual scenario, Jess would not be needing to lift up her own leg. We would have another patroller lifting like this. So Jess, go ahead and relax. I would be doing this, and I would be stabilizing like this the entire time. Okay? Thanks for helping out today, Jess.
Welcome.
Okay, so we can lay her leg down right here. So I'm looking at her splint. It looks like I could probably use a little bit more padding right here. Above her knee. We'll do one more lap. Yep. One more. Okay, great. And finally, we're going to lock her ankle in place. Like so. Okay. You can let her set her leg down. Okay. Hey Jess, in your left foot, can you wiggle your toes?
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel any tingling sensation anywhere in there?
Nope.
We've got a little hole here. I can feel that she's got a pulse in there. Okay. And we would send Jess away here with some ice on her knee to mitigate any swelling. And then we've reassessed CSMs, and this is how the patient gets sent to the hospital or back home for self-monitoring, etc., whatever they need to do. Okay. Thanks a lot, everybody.